Yeah, it's in the little, there you go. So welcome to the NESCO and Community Plan Steering Committee meeting of Monday, April 20th, 2026. Um, Nancy Vandell, the chair of the NCAC, is here with us. Lynn Saxton, Tom Seep, and myself, Randall Cook, the chair of this committee. So I would ask the three committee members if they will please approve the agenda for today.
So approved.
Tom? Okay, thank you. Uh, Also, I sent out the um, minutes of the last meeting, and I hope you had a chance to read them. They were extensive because they were the AI ones. There was 3 pages of it, but I thought it did a pretty good job, besides a couple of spellings I fixed. So may I get approval of those minutes or any corrections if you have them?
I must admit, did not review them.
Okay, you
Just
had
didn't.
some assignments, but I think you knew what you were set up to do. Lynn?
I yeah, I think they were accurate.
Okay.
I'm shocked at the AI's ability to spell. It's far better than I would have guessed. So, but we need 3 votes or 4, or
Well,
can
we
we
have,
just approve them?
Now,
I
right
can
now, we
vote.
just, you just need two, actually.
Oh,
It's, see, we have quorum,
okay.
We have a
but
quorum of three, and so we need a majority of the three, which is two.
Okay. I vote
if you guys
yes.
are happy with it,
Yeah.
I do
And
not object.
since I read them and proved them, I will approve them as well. Okay, so we have approval of the minutes. And may I ask anyone if they need to declare a conflict of interest regarding today's agenda?
No
No.
conflict.
No conflict, nor do I. So no conflict in the committee members. So, Tom, it's the Tom Show, the review of 43.
Uh, 43, yeah, okay, I uploaded the wrong one. I uploaded 42. I put, the, give me
Did my,
just a moment here to upload to the meeting folder, the correct one. I,
it might be
Matt,
42. I thought we were going to review.
no, I think it was 43 was the most
I'm
recent one.
I'm looking up
Yeah,
do you have 43, Tom?
it is now being uploaded to the
Okay.
meeting folder.
Because that's the one I went off of.
Okay,
Okay,
well, if it's published, then that's the one, because that would be the latest one.
Yeah.
okay, it's up there now. I apologize. Nancy pointed out that we didn't have that up there, and so I hurriedly put it up there, apparently too hurriedly.
Okay,
So should
well,
we share screen to just so we can work through it? I mean, can
Yes,
we put it
yes,
yeah,
up?
we should do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
and do
I
we
just
think,
want,
is Sarah joining today?
I don't, well, she may join, but she wouldn't have done her homework. She said she wouldn't
Okay.
be able to get to it because of the budget until next meeting.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're somewhat on our own. I think I kind of wondered that today, like, well, if we're on our own, how do we know whether we can approve something or not if it doesn't fit the county's
we can always
policy?
back it out if they don't like it. And I don't have
Okay,
a problem with that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I do have a proposal for adding to the community plan in a little bit,
okay.
when
Okay.
that becomes the right time to do. Okay, so why don't I, rather than me looking at the screen, I could share it.
Thank you, Tom. That would
Well,
be generous of you.
I know, well, I went, this is my third meeting of the day.
Oh no.
Ooh,
Oh my. Oh,
Oh,
I would need
so
chocolate for that.
at least.
I did chocolate and
Oh,
it's still not
you've already
working.
chocolated and you're still here.
And coffee, both.
Oh my. Okay.
Okay, so, review, and let's go to the next one. First one thing I know, that's an action for Sarah, so we know we can. That is not really
Connecting.
an action. The one that this is, where was oh, bother. Looks like there was some section of it, and let me look at it. I've got a copy that's, oh, you don't want that.
That was cool looking.
That's one of my other projects.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, on page 7. So we're way past that. Did we resolve the paragraph, and are we happy with that paragraph of talking about beach access? Because we had a conversation, you had an email conversation about the beach access stuff,
Yes, right.
and I want to know if we're still happy with this.
Let's see, the current practice of limiting.
Vehicular traffic to only government authorized vehicles on the beaches of
Yep.
Nesco is an important part of maintaining the character of the community. Yeah, I think that fits with what we understood the policy and who makes it.
Okay,
And I don't know. The only thing that I would put out for consideration is that, the largest in-migration in Oregon is not, or from people from Oregon, it's from California and other states. And it isn't just that we allow government authorized vehicles. It is that Oregon beaches are, I don't know if we want to mention, Sarah keeps mentioning it, which makes me think we might want to mention it. The Department of Parks and Recreation is the entity that approves vehicular use um, and permits it. It's a permitted, so something saying this isn't just us thinking this way. This is the way Oregon rolls, and it has been for some time. There are specially designated areas in Oregon where cars are allowed on the beach, and they have to go through a process. And there are places usually where you would take those big dune buggies and go down a big dune, like in South Coast. So
Right.
something that just something a little more forthright that says, you know, um, it has always been Nescoin's practice to limit vehicular traffic. The Parks and Recreation Department makes those determinations when needed, but um, it requires a permit. I mean, something implying it's not just a pro forma exercise, or it's not just little Nescoin coming up with this. This is really a core state value.
Okay,
uh,
so
I
it's
think
also,
sometimes uh, I was just gonna say, sometimes less is more. If you give people the information they need to challenge this or change this, which I don't want changed,
Right.
uh, then that's not in our favor.
does it make sense to just cite an Oregon statute like a ORS
We,
something?
I tried. That would be nice. The problem is when I did that research, the regs, the administrative rules for the Parks and Recreation, and that was the email I sent to Sarah this morning,
Yeah, I
is
read that.
they talk about, they talk in the regs, they talk about specially designated areas. And there's a phrase they use. Let me go out and look. I sent it in my email. There's a phrase they use that is significant, and it is um, the beach. Sarah's point is the beach is under the jurisdiction of the state. It's not under the jurisdiction of the county.
Right.
And um,
How about current state practice?
I have the sign that's up at the four things that I designed. I'm trying to let's see. Signs.
I think you could say it is Oregon's practice and has been for decades. I mean, this isn't just, this is like, this goes back to the 30s, which would
Well,
be
It
a
doesn't matter
hundred
how long
years
it's been
now.
there. It doesn't matter how long. If it is, it is.
right.
Well, but it's not, it, to a certain extent, Tom, it does matter in Oregon in some of this stuff because you have a lot more traction if you can say, this has never been what Oregon's been about, is a bunch of people driving their cars on the beach. And
Okay.
And so again, my our goal is the same, is to give this impact. Um,
Since which, give me a date.
and uh, so when we say government authorized, if we say the state of Oregon practice since for decades, that's the only thing I can say. I don't have the precise date, limits
Well,
vehicular beach traffic to government regulated and approved vehicles. And
well,
it's a
if they're authorized, that that's kind of redundant. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's well, but you can't, it's not like if I go in and say I'd like a permit from Parks and Recreation, I have to file for a permit. It's like a building permit. It's a
Right.
it's so I agree less is more. Sarah may be the best person to word it because she's the one who is very clear, and I think the counties are all very much on this page, which is, this is nothing a county can deal with. This is a really important state issue, and the state has regulatory authority.
So
Okay.
maybe OPRD, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, might be the one to cite as the one where this
Yes,
comes from.
yes.
So Oregon Parks and Recreation Department uh, would be the identified agency that's a state agency. So that it's understood that it's not just Nesco telling them that.
And so if you have the
Okay.
shortest way to say that, you could say Oregon Parks and Recreation Department has authority over
Vehicular traffic.
vehicular traffic on the coast. And to a certain extent, that kind of that's a heads up to people. And that's and it uses very few words, but it's kind of like um, for example, these special designated areas. There's like 6 criteria you have to meet, and Nesquin has gotten those permits in the past for handicapped people. So you can build a special vehicle which has giant beach tires, no motor, and it can be carried by people onto the beach, much like they have used in Asian countries, um, to take handicapped people onto the beach. But you even then you have to show them the vehicle, you have to get the permit. It's a whole thing.
Okay. That
How
works,
about that?
Tom. Just correct jurisdiction and you got it.
You guys are so
Picky,
picky.
picky, huh?
You are.
Okay. Current Oregon Parks and the current Oregon, no, not the current. Just you
Just
could
the
just tell.
Oregon. You can just take out the and current.
Okay, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department has jurisdiction of the Hitchili access to the beaches, to the beach. So
You
vehicle
want it
and
singular? I'm unclear if that should be plural or be. I mean, we actually have two beaches, so I don't know.
uh,
Or we can say, and Tom, did you get the vehicular piece that's misspelled in the first line?
Oh, no.
There you go.
I tried to pronounce it to make it clear.
I like the way you pronounced it.
I like the way I
Vishili.
spelled it. I like the way I
Vishili.
spelled it.
All right.
And we can just say has a vehicular access to the Oregon coast or to Oregon beaches. Just say to Oregon beaches. It's all the beaches. It's not, it's all of them.
Yeah, every beach. Well, now what happened to beaches? Is that right? There you go. Okay, we did it.
Well done, team.
All right.
Okay,
Good
I'm
homework,
glad we
Lynn.
clarified that, because I was concerned in looking at the email that we might have unsettled on that, but we're set. Okay, we're good. Shall we go on?
Yeah, so I can't remember what Kinnickinnick was determined like that is
Oh,
or it isn't,
that's
or
that's the one I went and hiked around and it's asphalted and it's still there and there's no sign. But
right.
Sarah's got to check on whether it's designated in the county.
Yeah, because
But
it's
it's been there for several decades.
right. It's just that you can't get there on a county road because of
Right. Well, yeah.
that's
That's
still
a topic of debate right now.
it is.
So, this erosion control thing, Sarah was gonna update and has not yet, so.
Okay.
we'll
All right.
fire on
Well, she's got a few assignments still in the works.
Yeah.
that. That's another one for her.
Yep.
In her basket.
Yep.
This looks like a repetition of that one.
Hmm.
We don't need this one if we got that one. I'll fix it. I must admit, I did not do in much homework. And we stopped there. So
Okay.
everything else from there is, and I'm sure I'm glad I did that. Because I didn't remember. I'm gonna make that a policy. I'll move that and change the date. Okay,
So
So,
dark sky is set to become a county policy and they're just fine tuning it, I believe.
so
okay.
where is I'm curious. I live in a controlled light, external light, a dark sky community
Uh-huh.
by code. But what is the extreme light pollution? Where is that?
South Beach Road,
Oh,
it's some ugly things.
okay.
Well, and I know a couple of, so PUD, you can pay so much a month and get a street light. And there are a couple of them north of the bend and a couple of them in town. So those would, and PUD will change them to a downlight by putting this rim around them. So we've asked a few of the people to do that and they said no thank you. So when it becomes a policy, we're set to go back to those people and say it is now an ordinance that you have to downlight this. You can't just broadcast it across the valley and up into people's windows the way it is now. So anyway,
Okay. Thank you.
Thankfully, we don't have any streetlights, but we have people who think that floodlighting their houses is a wonderful thing.
yes, we have them on Slab Creek Road too, and they will also get the notice. There's Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
How's that budget going?
Oh man, it's going. At a meeting this morning, and regretfully, I'm going to have to sign off just after 5:30. I'm so sorry, but I can be here for between now and then.
Okay.
Okay,
We
so
were just-
we've gotten to the point where we were last meeting and just did some more discussion and a little bit of embellishment on the beach access.
Okay.
Adding just a few more supporting phrases. Nothing substantial changed. we assumed that you haven't had time to do anything that you were gonna get, that you got to sign. So I don't think
Right.
there's any point in going back over what we've already gone over.
I would agree with that. Yeah. And I think I did mention, Tom, thank you. I whined a little bit at the last meeting to tell you guys I probably would not be able to do that work.
Right.
And my concerns.
I mean,
That's understood.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I really think you should cut back to 80 hours a week myself.
I'm working on it. I'm trying. Thank you.
Okay, so we have between 25 and 31 that we can review, and then we will just have, when Sarah comes back on the various details that she's enlisted herself to address. So if we can make it through 25 through 31, we'll be
Yep.
back to, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Yep.
Before Sarah leaves, I'd like to float the one that I came across today with possible
Okay.
policy. But we should go through the document as it is first, I think.
Okay. So let's go to 26 and yeah.
Okay.
Watersheds.
Mm.
So how does that look, Sarah? Are those the right?
We're looking at policy 26 or the lines.
Policy 26, it's
Okay. Thank you.
page
Oh.
22.
Oh, go to where that begins above watershed, just so well, or you can just stick with the watershed policy and make sure that's right, and then we can look at the writing that's associated with it, which is the drinking water.
I think it's included with what we got.
Okay,
So
we can see it all now.
I try to make it big enough, but well, that's usually especially for Guy, because he has a screen that's not very big.
Oh, he's not. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I have no problem with it.
Oh, Tom, in the policy, second line towards the end, you have a period where I don't think you want one. There you go. Sorry, I'm a slow reader, you guys.
It's okay.
No, you're a careful reader.
Thank you.
That's different.
I appreciate that.
Well,
So I
I
think
always
there-
remember the year
Yeah.
there was no water in Nesco Inn because we honeymooned in Nesco Inn and there was no water in 1978 on August 5th. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who remembers that, but this policy seems on point, and I appreciate, I think guys put a lot of work in this, or maybe it's you, Tom, but thank you.
I remember
no,
that too.
no, this
There's
is
also
primarily Guy.
there's also an apostrophe that shouldn't be there on the same line with its.
Yes, this is definitely Guy's. I wouldn't have done that.
Mm.
I mean, I might have put the extra period
It's
in there, but
handy
I'm
that
not
he's
gonna-
not here, Tom.
I believe you, Tom.
Well, and I think after hearing the presentation at the general meeting that
Mhm.
Guy and Troy did, yeah, I think that if you listen to that and you read this, they intersect nicely together.
Mm-hmm. So we've read more about the company, the corporation, or I think it's a company, that Weyerhaeuser actually has sold the property to,
Mm.
and they're operating with the North Coast Land Conservancy to help them manage the new rainforest preserve that they purchased about 4 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
they are an active conservation timber
Cool.
management firm. So we're thinking we're going to get pretty good cooperation with them. And that's probably was a move by Weyerhaeuser to not want to manage it and deal with the watershed, but to find a buyer who would. So I think it's kind of so far at about a 10-day investigation, Alex and Guy were pretty confident they had a good partner to work with as far as management of the forest. So
Great.
lower risk than
Excellent.
Weyerhaeuser.
I bet that makes everyone feel so much better. That's huge.
Yeah, so we're still going to keep our eye on them, but and we still may want to buy it, but if we bought it, we might have them manage it. So maybe that's redundant. Okay, so we're good with 26, and then the next section.
Natural habitat, and I'll get rid of no, there's no policy associated with that. It's
Okay,
just a statement.
okay. Safety.
Where's an X? It's not a possessive.
I think that, Tom, the red writing is the writing you added.
No, it's got to be Guy.
Okay.
I would not have made tsunamis possessive.
Okay.
That's one of my deals. That's a
Identifier.
mistake I don't make.
I think it looks good. Community organizations will work together to protect lives and properties to the extent possible. I think that's a really important statement. The only thing I would add to that is and coordinate with state emergency planning efforts. Because the big fish in the game is the state, particularly for the earthquake.
I would say
Okay,
state
so-
and federal, right?
State and federal, right?
So
FEMA.
I would
Well,
say
yeah.
FEMA. I would say, actually, we'll work together with Tillamook County and FEMA because you've got all of the inventories that will come, including for roads and other things as we've heard. So when we do those disaster declarations, that funding and that declaration and the tracking of the damage, because it could be a small earthquake, it doesn't have to be the big one.
Right.
We
Right.
want to make sure that that's all in there so that we
Okay.
get that money that we
Yep.
all want and need.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so now that we've all agreed on what it is you think you said, let's put it down.
And
So we should-
and on line 17, Tom,
Yeah.
potential should not be capital.
Oh, yeah, another,
Guyism.
He's good.
Community
So
organizations will work together to protect lives and property to the extent possible. Sarah, is it best to say along with collaborations with,
Yeah, we'll work, I would say in collaboration
in collaboration,
with
Tillamook County and FEMA.
FEMA.
any state agencies?
Oh, I would also put the South Tillamook County Emergency Volunteer Corps. There's not a lot of places where we can take a nod to them, but this would be a place we could.
Is that some emergency?
Volunteer Corps.
My brain is not working very well.
Third meeting, you're bound not to have it work.
Well, I haven't been it myself this week anyway. Eminency. I will spell this later. Anyway, emergency. Corps
Volunteer Corps.
or volunteer. I'm kind of a member of that. I should know that.
It's almost as long as our subcommittee name.
So Sarah,
Yeah.
we have to put the state of Oregon in there
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
because if there's an
Oregon.
earthquake, that's one of the biggest issues is
Mhm.
they're going to have at least 3 areas of crisis all at one time. And the
Mhm.
coast is one of the most challenged. And so a lot of work has been done by the state to figure out
Right.
how to do that. So, and we need to be sure people know that it's all hands on deck, basically. It'll take everyone here to deal with a major earthquake.
Right. So I
Anything
would put
other,
FEMA, Oregon Emergency Management.
I think that's what you want to put.
Yeah, I agree, Lynn. And others.
and the infamous others.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of Dagami,
Yeah.
right? Oregon Health Authority, DEQ, because Oregon Health Authority is going to come in when we start talking about clean water.
Right. You
Well,
can
let's
say,
just
so all of those agencies, when I was head of OHA, we went to preparedness meetings at ODEM. And all of those agencies are required to integrate with the Department of Emergency Management. So I would say that FEMA, Oregon, and it's called Oregon Department of Emergency Management.
Thank you.
And that will cover it because they have coordination responsibility. I don't think we have to list all the state agencies. They'll do
Okay,
that for
fair.
us.
I generally have a preference for listing things in order of magnitude.
Okay.
Anybody objection to me reordering this based on size of?
I was
I'll do
thinking
that.
about
I'll
that.
do that off.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with it, I'll do that offline.
I didn't know you were the director of OHA, Lynn.
It was the best work of my career, the most controversial, but the best experience. It was what the feds told us to save Medicaid, or we were going to lose our funding. So it was very exciting, but very, very tense, but well worth doing.
Now I've got another in for OHA inquiries when I need
Yeah,
help.
well, I know it like the back of my hand. I can point you in the right direction.
Okay, anything else on that safety goals? Then we get policy 27, which has text needed.
I know I'm not here as a committee member, but may I make two other little things?
Sure.
Thank you. So it's just Oregon, right? Not Oregon's Department of Emergency Management.
Yes.
Okay.
I
And
think you
then
said Oregon's. So that is more correct?
it's
Yeah.
ODEM, yeah.
Okay, that's not what I thought I heard you say. Sorry.
And then what about having, instead of saying property to the extent possible, but the extent feasible? I think there's a difference in,
Yeah.
but
That's a
you could
good
leave
point.
it possible if you want, but
It's true, Nancy. That's a good one.
Yeah, we've made that change in other places. That may have been in the bylaws, actually. I think about it. Yeah, feasible is a better one.
thank you.
I agree. So are we not completely unhappy with this?
No,
My bar is lower today.
And
Okay,
you have everything in 27, do you want,
There
Sarah?
doesn't look like it. We got an implementation. We don't have any actual text. Do we need any text? I don't know.
Is there county policy on that?
Well, or the question is right here, is that the policy?
I think that's the policy if
Yep.
you want to know the truth,
Yep.
just
I
to
think
make
you're
it
right.
easy.
Yep.
I don't think we could say it better.
We didn't say that. Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Actually, will is not the right word, shall. One of my bugaboos. Okay. These are a bunch of random sentences. I wasn't quite sure what to do with.
Right,
I
this
think there's
has to
some
do
more.
with visitors and we had, I think this was Guy talking about how the signs are so numerous that no one pays attention to any of them and
Mhm.
worries that it should be more succinct and maybe prioritized somehow, but I don't know how you're going to do that. Um,
That requires coordination, I would say, with Visit Tillamook Coast and Public Works. So if I recall, when all those sign placements were done, because I worked on that with Barbara and oh gosh, Marge, because we started that work with the tsunami facilities improvement plans and the tsunami hazard overlay zone.
mhm,
And we met for a couple of hours and went through this whole strategic process for sign placement.
mhm.
And then Chris got a hold of it and was like, you can't put all these signs here because the transportation signage standards control everything. And there's like rules about where you put signs and how close they can be to traffic control signs. So what you ended up with was what we were able to do that met transportation rule requirements as well. So I would say anything to revisit sign location and signage is a broader conversation beyond just the community.
Well,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, I get, I'm sure many of you get the Nixle emergency alerts.
Mhm.
Um, but one of the things I think is coming with AI, and it's probably like a year away, is when you have your cell phone and you're close to an area and it's going to ping you and tell you what you can and can't do in that area. I mean, I think
Mhm.
we're real close because what they've learned is people started putting up so many signs and then we went electronic and no one's paying attention to the signs at all beyond a certain point. There's a sign tolerance for public highways and access and such. So I think we want to collaborate with the county and all emergency preparedness people to to communicate in whatever way is most effective, whether it's signs, pings, AI, whatever. But I do think, you know, my car now tells me when there isn't going to be any parking where I'm going. I mean, I'm serious, and that's just through satellite stuff. That's just what it
Uh-huh.
does. So I just think this is a little, we should update this with what we think is going to come down the pike, and most of all, it's going to be collaborating with the county and other state entities to make sure that people know. The state has a whole program, for example, for communicating that logs can hit you in the back if you're not watching oceans, right? There's a whole public service announcement, et cetera. And I don't know what the current state of those efforts are, but the community plan should be intentional about communicating with the community about safety. And we just have to discern the best way to do that. And it may not be signs, it may be electronic.
And there's others that may, like, again, that are going to participate in that or want to participate in that. And I just think I love using the word intentional, Lynn, because that's exactly the word I was just thinking of. But I think that those decisions are in collaboration with the entities that do that work.
Yes.
This is what I got from the gist. Cooperate with whatever entities necessary to enable electronic alternatives to physical signage. Is that what you meant?
Yes, and more broadly, that the community plan should reflect a desire to communicate effectively with the community through means of signs, electronic alternatives, and technology. And because we're making huge advances in terms of safety, um, not as many as I would like, but we've made a lot of technology advances in safety. Nixle would be a good example of that. But they're going to
Okay.
be even.
How is electronic different than technical?
Then what?
Then you said technological and electronic, but I don't see any
Yeah,
difference.
I don't know. I just know, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's electronic, but I have this sense that there may be
If
even
it,
other things, you know. I mean, I don't mean
I,
like electric shocks when you walk on the beach past the sign that says "Don't walk on the beach" right now, but there's a lot of
how about
stuff coming,
technological?
I'm sure.
What else needs to be added?
I think in general that ensure everyone in Nescoin is aware of the dangers when recreating on the ocean shore still is okay to be there because it's saying that's kind of the point of it all. Work closely, that
That's covered above.
kind of
Right.
redundant, right? Improve beach path notices. Well, that's kind of what we're saying above, so I don't know if that's obsolete or
It seems to be redundant.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's redundant.
And then
Just,
the STR thing is kind of a subcategory of work, ensure that everyone is aware of the dangers, but might be
that would
worth,
be that's the same thing. And
well, it's being specific about a group that otherwise we might not think of, although I think the STR guys have that as a mandate, Sarah, that they need to provide that in their places.
Correct. So the tsunami evacuation, the
Right.
Dagami evacuation poster is required to be
Oh,
posted.
good.
They have to give us photo signage of it as well. And then it's on the inspection checklist for the initial and every 3 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's something they have to show us.
So I think it's
um,
worth leaving it in there. Just, I mean, it is kind of uh, maybe a period piece. I don't know if that's going to be happening in 20 years, but it's worth mentioning that that is important. If it's an ordinance already, maybe we don't need to say
oh, this document is broken.
it.
All bullets turn blue. I don't know why. I can't seem to fix it. No, I can fix it. I don't want to fix it. It's turning everything into text and then formatting it again. I may do that eventually, not today. And then this one was also bulletized. See, if you bulletize it, it turns blue. Isn't that wonderful?
Mm.
So I turn
Extra
it back.
steps for
Oh,
you.
I love it. Don't know what support water rescue teams from fire district means in terms of an action. Is that
Well,
just a good thing to say?
it would be an opportunity for the fire department to say, it says in the community plan that the community will support water rescue teams, so we ask you to please follow through on that and buy us a jet ski or something.
Or don't shoot them when they come up on the beach. Okay, good.
Well, or if they go for a grant, or if the South
Right,
Tillamook County Emergency Volunteer Corps applies
that's a good
for a
one.
grant, that helps say the community has this is a priority
right.
in their community plan is to support
Water rescue teams.
water rescue teams. Yeah.
Okay.
And here we
Since these
are.
are known to be redundant, anybody have a problem with me just eliminating that so I can make it a little bit neater?
I think that's, anyway, I'd weigh in and say they're redundant, given the policy and the phrasing above.
Nobody objects, it's going that way. I don't have a little bit better. Do we want a policy that talks about this, or do we need a policy?
But we'd go back up, read the whole thing again. No, that's about earthquakes, tsunamis.
Is is the policy though, to me that's overarching to where maybe we put all of the stuff and the policies at the bottom, because when we talk about
Yeah.
emergency preparedness and working together to protect lives and property, that includes signage, right? I think maybe
Right,
that's the umbrella.
Okay,
Oh.
gotcha. Safety values, and then we can do that. Okay, let me change this to heading type 3. Pardon me for the. And we'll move this. Oh, not all of that. And we're gonna cut that. And we'll just paste it for now, right here.
Sure.
And get rid of that extra.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense to me. Do I make this a sentence? Is this enough? I'll make that a sentence offline if people are happy with that general statement.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just leave it as it, and people can criticize it and give me a difference. Or I could do better.
Okay.
Okay. Are we happy with this?
Yeah, I would say it's working.
Okay. And so if we're done with that emergency preparedness, then we have something that's transportation-ish, I guess. And that was a review delayed, but I don't think we ever resolved or came up with anything that talked about that. I'm not remembering it anyway.
Mhm. So this was oh, sorry, Tom, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna hand it over to you, so.
Okay. So this is part of my homework with Chris, especially after the transportation system plan update
Yep.
that
we had. So this is our homework.
Okay, so
All
work in
right.
progress. That
Yeah.
was my question.
Probably so is
So
parking.
is that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one, safety. But this has to do with law enforcement oriented safety, personal property safety. Because we have safety up here.
Right.
Mhm.
For emergencies and
Yeah,
beach
so yeah, there's the
activity.
safety. So it shouldn't be safety. And so, well, sorry. Sorry for tearing out your eyes.
No, you're good.
Anyway, so that shouldn't be safety. The question is, should it be there? And if so, what do we call it? This was
Well,
something that the guy was on that, or personal and property safety is what I
And
mentioned that.
what is this related to, Tom? Because we keep talking about paths below it. So are we talking
No,
about safety in
both.
terms of pedestrian?
There's no supporting text for this.
yeah, the 1 through 6 and stuff, that's all the safety, transportation safety issues.
So I think we got to look. I don't have any recommendations. There's no supporting text. I don't know what to do with this.
Well, Tom, I started,
There you
There you
are.
Hey, I was
Ah.
wondering if you were
Hi,
trying to talk.
Guy.
well, I was trying to talk, but like I
Sorry.
think my wife would gladly have this mute button. She could use it.
My wife wishes she did have a mute button.
Yeah. Anyways, no, I mean, what I was trying to address here was, remember the debate over the extended sheriff's district.
District.
I can't remember the official name, but essentially that's what it was, that we would tax ourselves to it's a special district, I think. This extended sheriff something, whatever. Anyways, and it got voted down back, what, 10 years ago, ran something like that.
Right, you're talking
Yeah.
about the enhanced patrol district?
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Patrol district? And which is a special district, right? I mean, that
Right.
my memory is. But anyways, so that was it. I mean, I think it's and apropos of yeah, we had guests in our home last night, and they pointed out to us that there was police action over to the right of our house, and I looked it up, and sure enough, we had some burglars that were being tracked down in on Grandview, between Grandview and Beechcrest.
Really?
So yeah, this is like right up to date. Uh, but anyways, yeah, that's what it was about. I mean, I can add language to this if people want to add language to it.
I certainly don't object, but I wouldn't know how to write it, but shall I just give you the action guide?
If I would say if you're talking about a policy statement that supports the development of an enhanced patrol district, that definitely might be language we want to bring back to the CAC before putting it in, because that is a ballot that could become a political thing.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a policy thing.
Yeah.
It's a recommendation, a general recommendation that we work, and it doesn't have to be an extended sheriff's district. I mean, it could be other things. I mean, we could, the sheriff could come forward and support adding 5 new deputies. And we used to have a deputy that lived on Slab Creek, and he wants to do, I mean, it could be a number of things to increase the safety for people and property here when it comes to, especially when it comes to the sheriff and also to some extent the state police. But we get our state police here one day a week. That's enough Wednesdays.
Okay, so as a resolution to the current thing, if we have text there that supports that, it doesn't need to be policy. I'll convert this to regular text
Yeah.
and then Guy, you can help me with some language that needs to be here.
Yeah, and as I said, I don't think we should limit it to one specific thing that would improve the coverage for us from law enforcement. And that's what we're talking about specifically here. We're not talking about fire, rescue, those kind of emergency services.
Okay. Oh, I know.
Box. The box won't leave.
The box won't leave because I'm in tracking mode. So with your permission, and since we have everyone here,
We'll do it
I will
later.
go ahead and accept this change.
Yes.
And then I can get rid of the box, I think. Oh, stop tracking. I shared with the bylaws committee my favorite reason for living windows. And perhaps if we have time at the end, after Sarah's gone, and we don't want to pollute it, I'll share it after the meeting. Okay, and oh my. No borders. Ha! See how easy that was?
Easy for you.
Appreciate our editor.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so that's an action for you to make that into more cogent statements. Okay. This is transportation-ish, isn't it? And this is actually reflected elsewhere. this may be redundant.
Well,
Um,
let's wait till we get Sarah and Chris or
Yeah,
whatever,
so,
however the next iteration is, and then we can determine if it's redundant.
okay.
Can I ask a question while Chris and I work on this? We had a conversation after the TSP meeting, and I asked him a really stupid question because I do that because I'm not a road expert. And just spitballing ideas with him, especially related to community connectivity and the crossing across 101 for
Mhm.
things like the farmers market. And if you guys don't think this is a terrible, horrible idea, stupid idea, then I could work with him to put some language in to further a conversation with ODOT and the TSP group and then the community at large. So,
Yes.
okay, so
Let's hear it first.
please be patient. Thank you, Rand. Please be patient with me and my ignorance in what I don't know.
Okay.
But what, from my observation, what I see is that the largest generation of traffic across Highway 101 is the farmers market during the summer when it's also when we have the most traffic. And I remember the farmers market being located on the west side of 101 and was part of those conversations with ODOT, OPRD, and Commissioner Labhart years ago when we found out that the farmers market could not be in that area anymore because of decisions made at the state. So my question was, I understand those parking lots, like, the state OPRD has that parking lot and those parking spaces are needed. And then the ones by the bus shelter, some of those, Hot Creek and the market, there's some dynamics and relationships with the state for parking there. But what if part of the state parking lot and the egress route, considering its width, could be used to relocate the farmers market back on the west side of 101?
Say that
The
again.
route is
Last
wide
part.
enough. You might have a line of booths. You're not going to get the connectivity of a cluster, but I don't know. I was thinking if you guys were interested in some of that stuff, or you thought it might be viable, I could do some initial writing to put that into some of this work.
I'd love to have inputs from the people who are actually part of that farmers market
Yeah.
process, because I wouldn't know what their care abouts will be.
Yeah.
But
So
Sarah,
Lainey, go ahead.
I mean, I think you raise if you got the people who do the farmers market, the state, OPRD, everyone said, okay, here are our options. And all these options have these consequences. Let's collaboratively get to a solution. That seems imminently doable to me. And it's going to be time specified. It's not going to be in the winter when walking across 101 is, you could slip and fall and get hit by a truck. So
Right.
I do think a conversation would be very productive. And I agree with Tom. Those farmers market people went through a lot and
Yeah.
and they know what their parking volume. I mean, they got data now. They know what their parking volume is, they know what their traffic volume is, et cetera, et cetera. So an informed meeting with data on how to get that problem solved, I think that's a wonderful idea.
So I do have a
Yeah.
board member in my household here of this farmers market,
Yeah.
and she noted that a pretty good percentage of the customers come off, about almost half, at least half are coming off Highway 101 and coming to the market. So the visibility is a critical part of the market's success,
Mhm.
to have that be easy to get off the highway and to the farmers market. So that would be part of that conversation, would be to indicate it would still be viable to to turn off and to go to the market on the west side as it is now on the east side. So that's a consideration.
I think too, that
Okay.
I just know for if we drive to the market, a lot of people in our area, obviously we're not walking. I mean, people in South Beach have to drive, people in anywhere else
Mhm.
other than the very central part of the village drive to the market. Um, and if we use the state wayside parking area as parking, which fills up just naturally in the summer with beach visitors,
Yep.
it's going to drive. For me, I'd go around to the golf course and park in the parking lot area at the golf course. So if I were the golf course folks, I would
Would be
say this
happy.
isn't a great idea that we're going to be adjacent to the
The
farmers
market.
market, and we have enough going on in the summertime with our own full traffic and cars and people and everything. So I'm throwing out, not that I'm saying it's a totally bad idea, but and I get the idea of like, can we come back somewhere to the west side? There are,
That was what was driving my thought, just because of the
Yeah,
pedestrian concerns.
yeah,
yeah.
there are there are people who, and not a lot, who walk across, and you see people who come, especially walking their dogs or whatever, come from off a summit,
Hmm.
walk across the road. And we've had friends who do that. Rand, some friends that we've had do it. Um, but it's not a lot. And it's a dangerous place coming off a summit, trying to get across the road because despite what ODOT says that there's plenty of field vision to the curve. If you're walking, there's not. I mean, you're really taking your life in your hands walking across if you're coming off a summit. So um, I think
So,
still the best thing is if we can in this transportation plan really do something visual at that thing because it's not just pedestrians. It's all kinds of people coming out of the village, people coming off a summit. Uh,
Hmm.
it's a dangerous, not like Slab Creek in 101, but it's a dangerous intersection.
so in writing, thank you. So in writing and putting this piece together, working with Chris on this, what I'm hearing you say is for visibility, the fact that we have a lot of folks driving, unintended consequences maybe to the golf course for parking and congestion, because then that also leads you down Hawk Street and some of those other areas too, right? Is
Exactly.
that maybe because I mean that is something that we could put in is for these reasons, prioritization of visual, you know, uh, traffic control and warnings during the farmers market is the most viable approach. I'm just figuring out how he and I can put some of this stuff together to help when that money comes or when they're prioritizing projects. We can point to this section of this document and really use it in the way it's intended to be and have it be meaningful and effective.
Well, right now we have the coming north on 101. As you approach the curve, the speed limit goes down to 50.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that could be considered in the transportation plan, I mean, not only a sign of, you're approaching a congested area and there's going to be a, a, a cross uh, intersection that you're approaching, and maybe the speed limit could be a little less than 50 coming around the curve. I know what ODOT, remember, Sarah, when we were doing
Mm-hmm.
the planned unit development on
Yeah.
property, I
Cottages in
remember
Nescoin.
cottages and that's going, and people raised the concern about, oh, we'll put 120 small homes over there, traffic coming out of Summit. Their concern was because of people coming on the curve. And ODOT said they rejected that as a problem, saying that there was no need, that they had no concern with increased traffic coming off of Summit because they said that there was plenty of vision or field vision or whatever they called it to the curve,
Mm-hmm.
which just astounded me. But that's what they said. So that was their view. It's not a problem. I think it's a problem. That'd be great if we could, in the transportation plan, whether you put a caution light up there, reduce the speed, put signs up saying you're entering a congested area or there's an
Yeah.
intersection coming up. Doesn't even take a lot of money. Put crosswalks across just to let people know that this is something that people
Well,
use.
and a crosswalk would be best if it was located where the farther up 101 than right at Summit. It should be a little bit
Slick
past that intersection so you're not,
Yeah,
because it's complicated anytime anyone's coming out and then they'd have a crosswalk, they get halfway and stop. And
yeah.
so it's definitely a dilemma.
We direct pedestrians to go to.
Well, no, I appreciate that. That helps me, and I will report that back to Chris as we work on those policies and that language. If you guys thought it was worth pursuing, then we would do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be very helpful.
Okay.
And again, this is another reason it'd be good to have Jeff at these meetings to hear these points of discussion.
Would that be something, Ren, where you could reach out to Jeff and invite him, or would you like me to do that?
I think if we both did it, it
Okay.
might be as effective.
I might encourage him to watch the videos of this meeting, the previous two that you talked about transportation issues.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, and what I can do too is once Chris and I get that work done, maybe just letting him know that we have sent that back to you guys so that he'll know that we're actually done too and we've done our work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I made a note of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll try to filter through this and anything which is non-transportation. Okay, okay, this doesn't seem to be transportation here.
Mm-mm.
Okay, this is fire and rescue safety. Okay.
Well, I don't want to get everybody super excited, but I believe there is a firework ordinance underway by the county. Commissioner
Oh.
Fournier is working on that.
We can guarantee everyone will be excited about that.
I
in
know, I
different
just don't
ways.
want to like fall flat and say something that, you guys
No.
aren't going to see for a while, but I would say line 20, that bullet, the county is working on something. And I'll track that down and get that back to you. Maybe Nancy, I can add that to my enforcement presentation on the 13th.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make a note of that.
Now, well, we can talk offline, but the presentation on the 13th is going to not be related to STR specifically, right? That'll be a different one.
That'll be a different one. But
Okay.
if we're talking about enforcement, fireworks always comes up.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
We direct them to put signs, but we're not gonna have a volunteer crossing.
Okay, looking at lines 21 through 32.
We
Those
So
are-
I'm
we
not
know that
sure,
first line is true.
Guy, what did
That's
you
a-
just say?
Do we know that first line is true?
That's what I was gonna say.
If it was true, should we still say it?
Right, and there's that too.
Then there's that.
So basically, what you're trying to promote is risk reduction and community resiliency, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have heard from one of the chiefs that yes, they have both financial and personnel challenges.
Oh, I thought we were talking
As a
about
part
line
of-
29.
29?
Sorry, I was on the wrong line.
I think this sentence probably needs to go away.
Which one?
The one that's highlighted, 22 and 23. I believe it is true, but it's probably not us to say that.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I like the next sentence as more relevant to the people in the community and to clarify that they have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Guy, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
The only other thing, actually, Tom, if you do an undo real quick.
I did.
Okay.
I'm
You could
going
have
to.
it read the Nestucca Valley Fire District provides fire and first responder services to our community so that it's understood still
Who's
what they do.
doing that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
That way we
Okay.
don't lose all of it because I think that's important to say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And there's been a lot of fires put out in Nescoin by the residents, by themselves, successfully over the years. So, and the Nestucca Fire Department is really more than willing to come tell you how to do it, show your teenagers how to do it. I mean, not one by one, but they're very helpful in collaborating, but self-reliance is part of what they self-preparedness, I guess is the right word.
So any other changes to these two paragraphs?
I think it reads pretty well.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if instead of saying provides is responsible for, because I've also heard that they're very limited and I know for the volunteer side of it, which works closely with the fire department, they're concerned that almost everybody's getting older and less able to respond. So I don't know. It might be they have the responsibility, but do they have the resources?
Well, that was the implication of having that thing which has
Right.
been lined out.
Right. I get it.
But they are the people who do that.
Are they doing it? I mean, they have the responsibility, but it sounds like a lot of what they're doing is also providing tools on how to do self-reliance and training and that kind of thing, which is important.
But in addition,
Sure.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Might be good to talk to the chief before about these two paragraphs.
you want to take that action item?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I'll-
Are you asking if I would contact the chief and show him these and say if we were going to say anything about fire and safety in our community plan, what would he want to say, and is this what he would say?
Yeah, that would be helpful, I
I
believe.
think, yeah.
I will send you this text.
Thanks. Oh, my page just went white.
Well,
That's-
we're sending you the email with the text, so you can send it
Ah.
to the chief.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to
Ow.
retype anything.
I was panicking there for a minute. Am I losing my vision again?
Uh-oh, you just got it fixed.
Not yet. A couple from where we.
Okay, so I assume no further changes.
I don't think so.
So we
Let's see
have
what the
15
chief
minutes left.
says.
We have 14 minutes left with Sarah. So I asked to have a little bit of time to float an idea that was came to my attention earlier today.
Okay. And this was the last policy, 31, or?
No, this was a new proposed policy. The context is the South Beach Road Association is agonizing over whether or not to try to acquire property and not knowing a lot of stuff. Many more things unknown. We have a lot of unknown unknowns. And one of the things is whether or not the county would approve. If we had something, a policy that said, this is what communities should be able to do, neighborhoods should be able to do, that would go a little ways for us not having to hire a lawyer to find out the same thing.
Tom, I'm getting ready to meet with Mike Herbal and others on the South Beach Road Association. I've done the background work with Chris Lady and Chief Ader. And
Okay.
actually, Mike Herbal is on my list to email this week. I appreciate what they're trying to say. I just don't know if it's a policy, how we enforce their ability and what that means. And are we interjecting into any private sales or property line adjustments?
And there's just the
Yeah.
intent was just to allow agreeing parties to make the transactions. It wasn't to enforce anything.
Yeah.
Guess I'm lost. Does this involve the ownership of the road transferring from
The
one?
ownership of the various pieces of properties which comprise the road.
Right. So the sale of those properties to the association?
It's a little bit more complex than that. It amounts to changing property lines. Because the property lines, for instance, right outside my house, the house down the hill from here owns the street the property that the street I am, both 100 yards north and south of where I am.
Oh,
But that's part of a different property, and then which is part of a different segment. I mean, there would have to be a lot of rearrangement, and it's a lot of overhead.
Right. So when we look at roads like when we look at easements, I'll say an easement such as South Beach Road, you have sections of the road that are easements across privately owned property. You have some segments that are owned in fee simple. And what the goal is what they're trying to accomplish is to create a parcel of land that is the road.
Mm.
And so there's the other thing I would say to that, Tom, is that the land division ordinance has standards for the duration of length of dead-end roads and other things. So specifically related to South Beach, we're probably going to have to go to the Planning Commission to do that work because there's variances that are going to be involved specifically with that project. So I would say if this is project related simply for that road and it doesn't apply anywhere else in the community, I'm not sure making it a policy is a good idea if this is a one-off.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering.
It's not written to be a one-off. I think it's generally I don't know other situations may or may not exist, but it seemed like it would be a good thing to enable. If it's not valid or if it's inappropriate, that's fine. This is not the committee's work, by the way. This is only me. Just me.
I would have to run that by legal counsel just because of the land use pieces that would go with that, and potentially even like things like road vacations or easement vacations that may traverse across public or private property.
Did you say easement vacations?
So,
I don't understand that. What does that mean?
It means if you were to, like right now, there's an easement. So you guys all drive on a series of easement agreements. And if there was a change in ownership or if it was redone, you would have to terminate some of those agreements, or you may need to relocate, like you may need to relocate an easement in certain places because where the easement is described and where the road actually is can sometimes be two different things. There's a lot of scenarios that can play into that.
Yes, I don't know what that has to do with this. I mean, you talk about the practicality of doing it here. I'm just saying, in principle, we should be able to do that. And that's why
so,
it's policy rather than,
so Tom, would it work if because there are not identical situations, but would it work if we said as a community plan that the community would like to collaborate with Tillamook County Transportation and the State of Oregon Transport, ODOT,
Mhm.
to help us implement the community plan in terms of our transportation and our roads and to
this
write,
isn't,
because essentially what that says, and I don't know that there's been a meeting with ODOT, the county, and the community.
no, this isn't transportation at all. This is
Well, no,
private
it's
land.
roads though.
No,
No, it's
it's private
property.
land. It's not roads. It's private land that happens to be used as a road. County does not acknowledge the existence of our thoroughfares.
Could I suggest a possible word of a generalization, which might not exactly get what you're talking about, Tom, because you're already in the middle of it, and maybe it's already in the regulations now, Sarah, but something that when a development happens, that roads need to be included as part of the development.
If
Or maybe,
they weren't,
They are.
well, but they
Yeah.
didn't in this case, did they, Tom?
I don't know the history. I just know that this area was never properly developed, in my opinion.
So you have Nancy, so you have the inherited work going back to the Foltz family of easement assignments. From there, you have a series of major and minor partitions that continued to take place from the mid 90s on. Some of those included the actual creation of a private road, and some of them did not because that easement already existed. And
That's just
so
historical.
I appreciate the South Beach Road Association trying to bring all of that together, right? And I would say clean it up is what they're trying to do.
Well, we're considering doing. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't know if it's feasible or affordable. We're just trying to
Right,
figure
which
out
is
where all the pieces are.
which is
So
what
we,
my meeting will be.
so what we don't want to do is put language in the community plan that prevents Tom from that South Beach finding solutions to its distinct challenges, right? What I was trying to suggest is, and if it's public works, not transportation, then that's a different thing. But our goal should always be as an unincorporated community to have decisions that are made, include us at the table with whoever's responsible for the decision, because we don't have the traditional kind of structure for that a city has, for example. So that's all I was saying is, let's say that when public works issues or transportation issues occur, we would like to act as a convener, or we'd like to have a discussion with the county and the appropriate authorities in the room to bounce ideas off of. So that's not to your specific issue, Tom, but it sets the table for problem solving for unincorporated areas on those issues.
I've probably taken, thank you, I appreciate that. And I've probably taken too much time. I just wanted to raise that, see if there was any traction.
Can
I'm
you
not sensing. So,
Can
go
you
ahead.
email that to me directly? Because the creation of roads actually falls under land use. And what I want to make sure is that this does not conflict with the requirements in the land division ordinance
Oh,
or,
it did.
right, or creating situations where by formalizing the boundaries of a road, like in the instance of easements that run across, we've now created parcels that don't conform to the minimum lot width, depth, and size requirements of a zone. That's why, Guy, if you recall, we brought forward that partition and property line adjustment this last year to the Planning Commission off of South Beach Road, because all of those pieces factor into these decisions.
Okay, I will copy you and the
Yeah.
committee.
I'm happy to run that through our team. Public Works is a part of that. The fire department is a part of that. There's a lot of other entities that get involved, but we already had to take a portion of this to the Planning Commission earlier this year of this road in this scenario specifically. So I
Really?
just want to, yeah, it was down the
Yeah.
way from you, but I just want to make sure we don't say something in a policy that conflicts with what those standards are in the land division ordinance.
Well, that is good to know.
Yeah. But I do appreciate what you're trying to do. And I appreciate what the road association is trying to do. So I'm hopeful we can come up with a solution for that.
Okay. Well, that sounds like there's going to be some good thinking and there is some traction with the concept.
I'm not going to add it formally to the, I don't think it's the point where it can be added to the draft at this point. Anybody
Right.
disagree?
No, I think it'll be better to find out from Sarah uh, if there are complications involved
Yeah.
before we add it.
Yeah. Or what could we say that helps
Or what could you say?
get
Yeah.
to get everybody to where they want to go? Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sent, I think, to everybody on the call.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Um,
Okay, back to reality here. We have about 5 minutes to wrap up, I guess, with Sarah, and then we still have some time, I think.
We still got some time. Yeah.
okay. So what's below line 32? Is that it? Oh, here we go. Building codes to determine if there are additional.
Yeah, and we could just, Guy, can we just share this whole section with the chief and see what he thinks is
Oh, it looks like, yeah, there's more to it.
critical?
Yeah, I'll send you an update, Guy.
Okay. Resilience.
We're into section 7. Yay! Last one.
Yay!
Okay, face threats and community.
This kind of reiterates the emergency discussion in the prior section.
Yeah. I think I need to go through this document and look for redundancies. Let's
Can you
see.
scroll down so we can see the goals, Tom?
Mhm.
There we go.
Yeah, this is the 20th. I might be able to do it before the end of the month. I can make it a little bit smaller if people don't object. And we'll see.
Sarah, are the parks in charge of riprap?
They are. I was just going to comment on that. I don't think we can monitor their standards and review. Um, I think we can support their review of riprap revetment proposals. I think that aren't property owners notice, because that's an Ocean Shores permit. They have their own notification process for those.
So Sarah, when our committee was working 2010 to 2014, we came up with and of course it included uh, Tony drawing a
Tony
blank.
Stein.
Tony, thank you. Tony Stein.
Yes. Good guy.
Tony, we worked on a way to rate the riprap
Oh,
in the state parks. We did a complete survey of 91 properties within the community boundary that had riprap, and we rated each property and sent them a letter as to what their rating was and what they would need to do to improve if in fact they didn't meet the criteria, the standard.
mhm.
That was done and it may have been done like 2012, 2013, something like that, before we finished in 2014.
Okay.
So I think I mean, I think it's a good idea to work with state parks to periodically review the condition of the riprap. I think things have gotten better in terms of the permitting process.
Mhm.
So I think they've changed some of the requirements of how riprap is in terms of size of boulders, terms of angles, those kinds of things. Um, so when we were first looking at this, 20 years ago, there were issues with certain people's um,
Work.
work, and in some cases, uh, at the time, there was at least one property who was not going to replace their riprap.
Mm.
And what was the requirement? Talk about resilience. Are all the properties on the beach required to, in fact, finance the continuous repair rather of their riprap? And that was a question that came up, and there was a lot of discussion around it. I don't think it ever got resolved. The people ended up putting riprap up, but it was a concern as to what would happen if we had property owners who decided not to, in fact, repair their riprap or even replace it.
Right. So is that something to where, in terms of riprap revetments, the maybe it's line 23, and not 22, but I think you could start with a statement that establishes the Oregon Parks and State of Oregon Parks and Recreation Department is responsible for permitting riprap maintenance activities. And then the second sentence would be, the community, supports development of a community-wide system to ensure ongoing maintenance of the maintenance and protection of the riprap revetment, or something like that. Is that what you're?
Well, there was discussion, which I found interesting at the time, that the community as a whole should be responsible for the repair of riprap, not the initial placement. But
Mhm.
once the property owner established the riprap to the state park standards, that it was a community responsibility then to keep it maintained. It was it was talked about a lot, and I thought it was an interesting theory because really the riprap protects the whole community. It's not just those homes.
Right.
Why don't I ask my friends at OPRD?
Yeah.
Sarah, that would be great. And I think particularly the Land Conservation and Development Commission has had presentations in the past on the conflicts between riprap, the coastal zone management um, laws, and dune alternatives for riprap. And
Yeah.
then, and so I'm not current on those, so I wouldn't even profess to, but that's where land use has a very direct role. The LCDC has a strong role there. I don't know what the current state of it is. And we should find that out because it's, there's a school of thought that says if one person doesn't riprap, then it increases the impact of the ocean on the adjacent properties.
Correct.
And then there are people who say if everyone stopped riprapping, it's a complex area of research and law, and the community would definitely benefit from hosting OPRD sometime during a year, like when it's pouring down rain, to just
Yeah.
say, we just like to talk to you about all the stuff that you do that affects our community, and so we can be current on it. And they could send someone over, and I'm sure they'd be happy to do that for a gathering of a lot of people, or a certain number of people. But it's a really important issue, and I'm not current on it, but I know LCDC and the Coastal Zone Management Act both play a role in that playground with OPRD.
We actually did a Goal 18 exception for a riprap revetment in the county a couple of years ago and became very well versed in this matter with
I
that
bet.
exception process. So I would say, yeah, I've actually included Megan Rhiannon on here. The Goal 18 determination is to determine whether a property is eligible, right? And then once that determination is done, then it goes to OPRD for permitting. So the Coastal Zone Management Act and the local jurisdiction do that work together, and it includes not only beach access going east to west, but north to south, right? Because when you do that riprap revetment, does that compromise beach access or other natural resources of the beach? Because
Interesting.
now, right. So
Yep.
there's a whole analysis that goes
Yep.
with that, to your point. And that's what DLCD under the LCDC umbrella and the local jurisdiction do together. So I'm going to ask a few questions. I'm going to ask, is a community, I'm going to say, i.e. adjacent property owners, notified when OPRD is reviewing an ocean shore permit for either new riprap or maintenance of an existing revetment?
Should I be capturing this or are you gonna capture that?
I've got it, and yep, who is responsible for maintenance of the revetment?
Is it required?
Is ongoing maintenance required? And if so, by whom?
Right.
Property owners, community, or others?
And who enforces it and how? I mean,
Okay.
if I decide my riprap gets destroyed in a storm and I got it laying all over the beach, and I decided to leave it there, what is state parks? I mean, what is the enforcement that will happen? And we've had that happen.
Yep.
We've had luckily we've had good property owners who have taken on themselves but I remember at least one property owner that was not going to remove the boulders from the beach. And I don't know how that ever got resolved. They were eventually removed, but it was a person had refused to do that.
Was that within the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It could have been us through the velocity zone requirements for ocean flooding and the displacement of water.
Okay.
Because if I'm thinking it was boulders that were placed more of blocking and landscaping features.
Well, then there's the person that thought that leaving the boulders further out front would actually help their protection.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's there's a lot of issues there, and I agree with Lynn. I mean, it's complex, um, and what we want to avoid is what you get north of Corvallis beach access, where you have the beach grass that has 16 to 20-foot roots that forms walls of sand and grass that is impossible to scale. If you ever, and probably all of us have been caught walking on the beach when a roll up wave comes and you can't scramble up a wall of sand like you can with a river.
But see, that's the issue, guys. Those that work was done in the
'30s and '40s.
no, it was
Oh,
done in the 80s as a way to preserve the foredune because the Coastal Zone Management Act said Neskowin had built out too far on
yeah.
the foredune.
Mm-hmm.
And so, alternative to rocks, it was we're going to plant this dune grass. That's what they use in Holland.
European beach grass. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a strategy, and again, I'm not current on all that. I remember the discussion. There's a
Yeah.
lot of litigation on this in Oregon, beginning I think with Mark Hatfield's famous lawsuit when half his condominium fell into the ocean. Um, but anyway, I think Sarah, if you could enlighten us on what's helpful for us to do here, that would be terrific.
Great. Yep. And I
So,
just
so,
sent that email off. So,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna have text?
yep, you'll have text.
Okay,
I'll
good.
I'll forward you the responses.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So I will, to be completed.
Mhm.
These again for are we ready to go on? I think so. Emergency resources. Um, this is sort of after the fact as opposed to be before the fact. Safety being generally before something bad happens, and resilience being what we do to recover from it.
Line
And
27, is that a wish or
uh, that you wrote it, so
I
you
did?
tell me.
Yeah.
Those are things that you wrote down. I put them down there and did not edit them. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with them.
I did mention in a meeting, in a community meeting with Mary Faith Bell the other day, that as she drove by the Nesquin Fire Hall to notice that it would be in the area that would be destroyed, that we may need a new fire hall somewhere out of the tsunami zone, hoping she would keep that in her thoughts, but I don't know how we do it.
Yeah. I think I need to be line 27 in particular needs to be more developed. Um,
Well, the next couple lines do speak to it, kind of.
yeah, exactly.
There is a body of work that's been developed for the tsunami that produced the kind of recommendation to people that they should be able to be by themselves. They should be able to be on their own for 2 weeks if there is a tsunami.
Right.
They should have water for 2 weeks, everything else for 2 weeks, and they should get to a certain height. So one of the things that would be helpful that we don't have, and I don't think Sarah, it's up to Sarah. I don't know if there's a volunteer in the community that wants to take this on, but there is a lot of work in place done for what is going to be available in the event of two communities on the coast in the event of something like this. And particularly, I'm not even sure Nesquin Valley School is high enough for the tsunami that we do drills to prepare for. So I think it takes some homework. One of the things for the community plan to say is the community believes that it would be to the community's advantage to form a committee and have a group of people who stay current on this for the whole community and all the neighborhoods, not just those in the community plan, to have a coherent effort by the community to find out what's already been prepared and recommended, what is going to be forthcoming, and what can we do. And they could certainly engage partners as they wanted. They could certainly talk to the fire department, the health authority, all the emergency management people would come talk to us about what should be done. But
So
the plan itself should encourage the community to get current and stay current on what will be required and what will be available.
that would
I
be
think you
in
may be
addition to, go ahead.
Describing
I
the,
think you might be talking about the Be 2 Weeks Ready plan that Barbara Triplett and Colleen Williams, I think, came and talked to the NCAC about a couple of
That's
months
that,
ago, and it's for more for training and preparation. But you're
right.
also bringing in the emergency team. Yeah, it'd be nice to have them come together and have something robust in here.
The state has given a couple presentations. They did one on City Club, and not in terms of Portland, but what is the state going to be able to do? And there's been several OPB kind of forums on it, but the challenge is that they're working on it every year. It's changing, and the 2 week readiness grew out of work that was done before then, and there'll be more work coming. The community's responsibility, it seems to me, if they're interested in doing it, is to get some volunteers organized to stay current and present that once a year to kind of, okay, here's what we know, here's your resources, here's the signs you should have in your house, here's how much water you need, here's how high you have to get and how fast.
So is,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Randy Thorpe also needs to be a part of this as the county's emergency manager.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I would say, I think that part of this is working with him. We also have the multi-jurisdictional hazards mitigation plan. So that is a land use document we are required to update every 5 years. I take the lead on that to do that work. And once it's done, it goes to Randy because then it becomes implementing.
Well,
So,
and Sarah, to your point, it could be so simple as the county informing all the residents of the unincorporated areas that once a year they're going to host a forum on preparedness.
mhm.
I mean, because
And
it
yeah.
absolutely is part of the county's role,
Mhm.
as well as the state's.
And Nancy, to the point Lynn made earlier, it might be good to have Randy as a guest speaker and
Yes,
maybe have him do that in collaboration with the EBC.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll add that to the list. We were going to get together and get a list
Mhm.
together too, Sarah. So thank you.
Yes.
So,
And maybe he's someone that is invited sooner rather than later so we can finish our work. Or maybe
Okay.
we invite him
Yeah.
and others to one of these meetings like we did Chris, so we can get some of that feedback and education as we work on these statements and policies.
Yeah, I think it was really nice having Chris come to this meeting because you guys could talk with him more informally and a longer time. And then he came to the NCAC meeting and talked for a shorter time, but it was really helpful for people. So both times. Yeah.
so, so, excuse me, being somewhat task oriented here, the way I'm hearing things, a lot of these things probably need to be incorporated in the disaster plan. We need to cite organizations in terms of implementation, to work with, to develop a plan. Do I have that right so far?
yes, I
Yeah, I
think so.
think so.
We
Okay.
don't want to repeat. I mean, we don't want to repeat things that are in those plans here. We can make reference to them
Right.
and to the organizations. And it makes me think of, if this document is going to be online, to have hyperlinks to all those
There
plans.
you go. Yep. That'd be
Hmm.
fabulous.
Hyperlinks are not very good
Well,
because
whatever.
they don't age well.
Oh. Oh, because they don't update the, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
The website would be the appropriate place for
Yeah.
that sort of information.
Yep.
Or at the worst case, the bylaws references section.
Yeah. Well, the hyperlink could be to a web page.
We can't count
I'm
on
just
having
kidding.
the same. Yeah, okay, sorry.
I get your
Good
point
enough.
though.
So I'm not quite sure what else to do other than that. We've got a couple of delay things on tsunami routes. I think the only thing missing from this text is an implementation plan. Or would that be a policy? Or what? Sarah?
Implementation of what?
Mhm.
Of making actual plan.
An
Well, we
emergency
have,
I mean,
plan.
these are all things that plans should have.
don't we
It's
have, I
plan for the
mean,
plan.
Right. So I would say that plan development is outside of the land use subcommittee work.
yeah,
I think
Okay.
we support the development of a plan and that we want to participate in the development of a plan.
well, isn't that what the
Okay,
South
that's what this
County
says.
people are working on?
Right. So we have the hazard mitigation plan, and then there's the emergency response plans.
Right?
There's a few plans, but short story guy, yes. Short answer is yes.
Okay, so these are all statements in favor of doing the things that those people are doing, but we don't have to specify who's doing it. So what I hear is given a little bit of tidiness.
Right. But the
We're
community will
basically
not,
done.
the community will not be working on a resiliency plan.
Right.
Okay, well not. Okay, so that's not true.
Right, because there are other entities working on those plans on behalf of NESCO. And so I think the community desires to participate in resiliency plan development and updates.
I think we should say in the community plan that we, um, it's important for us to have a plan that provides us these services in case of a natural disaster. Um, it's okay to say you know, we, water, power, food, whatever, medical attention. So I know that there's that South County
Emergency volunteer.
emerging medical, my wife's part of
CERT. Mhm.
medical
The
emergency.
CERT.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we can say that our our not expectation, but it is important for this community to have those plans in place and those organizations in place to do that. I know, for instance, the water district has an emergency response plan. It's
Mhm.
required by the state. Uh, we have I mean, it's a very lengthy plan. It's covering who's in charge, who makes decisions,
Mhm.
what we do to get water. I mean, all kinds of things are in that plan. Um, so we need to, does the community plan say in terms of resilience, is that these plans are necessary for our community and here's where they are and how they exist? And
So
First of all, is lines 18 through 20, is that what you meant, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay,
the,
And actually, it's going to dovetail into 21 through 25 too.
yep. Sarah, I don't think that we are I mean, this is where I think government has a communications responsibility.
Mhm.
The state has broad authority in the event of the kinds of events we're talking about, huge authority. The state can delegate that authority to counties, and counties have authority. For an unincorporated community, and obviously the water, the sewer, they're required to submit their plans to the state because the
Correct.
state's going to be working with them to try and get, and the utilities have to submit their plans to the state. To me, what would be helpful is for the state and the county to say, Nasco, here's what you can do. Here's the best thing you can do to be ready for a large natural disaster. Or here's your and here's a hyperlink to these 4 plans that are already being done. But that piece is either intact somewhere and we don't know about it. I can't believe that there isn't a plan that's been handed off from the state to the counties about here's what we expect from you and here's what we're going to do. You don't have any Black Hawk helicopters, we do. Here's what's going to happen. They're a bunch of smart people on this, and rather than reinventing it, I think what we should do is hear from them concisely what is their expectation of what we do to make sure the residents of unincorporated areas can be part of the resilience team and do what they're supposed to do, but also be very prepared for what's not going to happen. And I don't, there's a bunch of stuff that's not going to happen very quickly. And so I just think that's the county and the state's job to tell us, not us to build a plan and get their approval. They should be informing us what we're required to do.
I agree. And
That's
I
a
think
minimum expectation. Safety is the state's first job, it's the county's first job.
so. I agree. And I know those plans exist, but to your point, even I'm inventorying them in my mind. And I don't think like really what would be helpful for the community knows where is the central clearinghouse location?
Yes. And
Where are these at?
the emergency management department of the state should have answers to those questions.
Right. And quite frankly, Randy should as well. Like I
Yep.
said, I know like the water district participated in this last round of the natural hazard mitigation plan updates where we evaluated different types of threats of hazard and what was going to happen. So I'm going to email Randy. I've copied Randall and Tom. So what I'd like to ask him if he's available to join us. Would you like me to, when is our next meeting? Or Randall, do you want to coordinate that with him?
With Randy Thorpe.
Yeah, I can send the email, but do you want me to just ask him if he's available on a specific date? Or do you want me to say, please work with Randall and Tom to coordinate when you can come to an upcoming community plan meeting?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because
Okay,
we're meeting on a 2-week basis, every 2-week basis, but it would be better if we made the determination with him when we're clear, more clear.
okay. So I'm going to
Sarah.
say, yes.
Oh, go ahead, finish.
I'm going to say I'm working with the Nescoin community on a land use project. We don't need to get weedy about what that is. And your input is needed for the emergency preparedness and resiliency section of our work.
Yes.
Can you please connect with Randall Cook, copied, to coordinate a time to join us for an upcoming meeting? Your input and engagement will allow us to accurately reflect information contained within our work and ensure that we can continue moving forward. Okay, he'll probably call me. I'll give him a little bit more of the background, but this at least gets him going.
Great. Thank you.
Yep, okay, done.
Nancy,
one
did
thing-
you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the plan, I guess I'm on the website now, to see if the emergency plan for the residents would be able to access is on it. It looks like you have all sorts of stuff up here. So never mind. I can find it.
So
Okay.
so if you go to emergency management, you're going to click on the tab for Tillamook County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan.
Okay. I've done
And
that.
then if you go down to the bottom, there's the supporting documents.
Oh, okay.
And I can't believe it's been 2 years. But yeah, that sounds about, oh my God, I'm gonna have to take that thing back out in 3 years. It takes about a year because PUD's involved, the school districts are involved, the creamery's involved, the cities are involved, ports. So it's a beast.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Sarah. So
Mhm.
and so are unincorporated communities involved?
They are to the extent of representation by the county. We did do some outreach for this the last time we did it with the communities.
Okay.
I don't remember, Nancy, we did an open house too. We had a couple of open houses for this, and I know the CACs were invited. Actually, all the
Okay.
communities were, but no, it's yeah,
Okay,
depending
great.
on
Thank
when
you.
you're chair or anyone else of you guys are chair, then I'll reach out to you when I have DLCD tells me in Oregon Emergency Management, I gotta get the band back together.
Thank you.
I don't
You
want to,
just
before I lose this, lines 21 through 25, you said dovetail with the paragraph above, but it sounded like you said but, and then the subject changed. Is there something that needs to change in this paragraph? Um,
I'm not sure we want to keep all of that.
I'm thinking that this sentence probably needs to go away.
Right. And I would say even just in terms of the state is working to develop a fund that helps small rural communities with
Okay.
infrastructure needs. I don't know if that's through Sea Grant or something like that. And then the community must develop comprehensive plans. I think all of that, we wait to talk to Randy because I'm not sure.
Yep.
Again, going back to roles and responsibilities and what's actually happening,
Well, this basically says that.
then
Is that not
I
true?
would get rid of 21 and 22.
Okay.
And then if there's things you want to add back after a meeting with Randy and potentially Oregon Emergency Management, there's things we can always add to this.
Yeah.
There's a list here of things, and that will be to be reviewed by Randy.
This kind of came from Barbara
Triplet.
Triplet, yeah.
So I think that section 21 through 35 is on pause till we hear from Randy.
Sure.
Because there's a hierarchy of response here and this is definitely an area where we need really clarity and immediacy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now I'm just thinking about it, I'm sort of surprised being a cert. I wouldn't know where a disaster plan was, although I'm supposed to help implement it.
Well, I think that's the communication challenge. And when people say that to me, that it's why, that there is a communications responsibility here that needs to be met. And we contribute to the state of Oregon to make that happen. And I think I'm not saying it doesn't exist and that we don't have access to it. I'm saying it takes work to keep up with all the work they're doing on that. And clarity from them is critical to thinking, and from the county, to what is it after the state's done its job and the county's done its job, what is left to be addressed for us?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're fairly agreed that these things are should be accepted as is. In other words, there's the deletions and moves. Here's the before, or here's the after. So it's condensed it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's down to that. I'm trying to keep it such that we don't have multiple layers of changes.
Right.
So if we
Okay.
agreed on that, then we can go ahead.
Storm plan, disaster plan.
There's no text in connection with, there's no policy that is connected to the disaster plan directly.
Well, disaster recovery plan here.
Oh, okay, there it is. Do we need both?
No, because this countywide storm drainage master plan, that is something that is not reactive to a storm event. It is something that is ongoing.
Oh, so that was no, it's different, rather than no, it's the same.
Yeah, community-wide storm drainage master plan.
We have that somewhere else in the plan.
We do. Yep. I was gonna say, I think, yeah, that's one of the assignments for Chris and I.
Yeah, we can take that out.
Just take it out.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I just looked at the clock and
Yep.
didn't realize I am super behind my schedule.
Thank you for,
I
Thanks,
didn't
Sarah.
want to bring
Thank
it
you,
up,
Sarah.
but thank you for hanging in
So
there.
good. I just got entrenched, but I gotta go
You
make
did-
a phone call and say I'm on my way.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Night,
thank you,
guys.
Sarah.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Night, Sarah.
Bye-bye.
okay.
Okay, and
We're to 31 now. And we're the last one.
yeah, wow.
Yay.
Disaster recovery plan, probably needs to be redone based on what we learned.
Yep.
Yeah.
And climate change, there's no policy for that, this is what we feel. And these are enablers for asking for grants to do things. The way I read it in.
Pardon me?
In other words, the reason to have this in it all and no associated policy is that might provide a basis for asking for grants after the
Mhm.
emergency, assuming anything would be available.
There are people at the state. I don't know if the county has climate change people, but there are people at the universities and at the state who are very knowledgeable about areas of the state and the impact of climate change. And again, this is a good topic. It would be a great topic to have volunteers get organized around finding the current state of the art information and how it pertains to Nescoin and sharing that with us. It's you know, Oregon spent, like Washington, has spent a lot of money on this, and it would be a reasonable request for an unincorporated area to say, we'd like to. What should we be doing? Should we be planting trees? Should we be, you know, um, and I, and so that's because there are a lot of resources. We've built a lot of resources in Oregon, and again, I don't think many of these resources, other than the incremental parts of the impact of climate change, reside in the county. They probably reside at the state level of government.
That's why there's no policy associated with it.
Yeah. So we could,
Okay.
it would take
This just says what I think you just said. All these things should happen. And
Right.
that's all the community plan should say.
Right, and then people can cite it and say, we will become the committee and we will provide this information and we will
Yep,
provide recommendations.
yep.
So, Rand, do you have us convening on the 4th of May?
I think we scheduled the meeting on the 6th and the 20th, and it's now incumbent upon us to plan the next two meetings. So
Okay.
I would say, I haven't looked to see if there's a conflict on that date inherently, or can we go ahead and do that? I haven't looked at the calendar to
There's
determine
4
that.
Mondays in May. I just know that I think we need to, before we adjourn today, we have to get that piece on our collective calendars.
Yeah, so it's May 4th and the next two more Mondays will be the 18th or something.
Right.
Okay. Day of Infamy of some sorts, Mount St. Helens. Well, let's go ahead and I'll publish that as the two next dates for our meetings from 4 to 6.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I did it again. I didn't turn on the AI assist. Damn.
Well, the AI should be smart enough to turn it on for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll do my best to sum it up. I do have some scattered notes here. That's the problem becoming
Well,
dependent on AI is if you don't turn it on,
well, except
you've
for
lost. Yeah,
Rand, my screen says this meeting's being recorded.
it's being recorded, but if you don't turn on the AI, it won't summarize the recording.
Oh,
Otherwise, you have to look at the recording to then summarize it yourself.
oh,
So,
okay. Didn't do that.
different animal.
Yeah.
Okay, dang. I mean, when I say start recording, and I'm gonna have to put AI as well. Dang. Okay. Well, I will get some summary of a sort out to you, and our next two meetings will be on the 4th and the 18th.
Okay.
Nancy, you are our public as well as our chair. You have
Well,
further
thank you
comment?
for letting me talk too much. But no, I don't have anything else. You guys are doing a great job. Just terrific. I'm just wondering, Rand, if you can turn on the AI now retroactively as in your host tools, if you can do that. But I'm going to go in and see if I can
Oh,
do it
it says AI
automatically.
companion is on.
Okay, I thought they were automatic, so
Oh,
hopefully
good.
you'll be okay.
Okay. It says that this meeting summary box is checked, so
Okay, good,
maybe
good.
it's become automatically there with the recording. It sure makes sense you can turn it off, but you shouldn't
Yeah,
have to turn it
good,
on.
good. Glad you got
Okay,
it. So
thank
thank you for
you.
letting me sit in and comment.
All right, well, thank you for pointing that out so I could see that it worked despite me. Okay, well, thank you all for the thing, and I'm glad you got your thing in, Tom, to be able to ask Sarah that question and have that ball be rolling in to help you understand that also.
Appreciate that. I have some cleanup, as I noted, to go through, and I'll do that. It'll probably take me a couple of days to get to it. And then I'll publish version 44.
Wow. Okay, and we've made it to the end of the document, and now we
And
just
we're,
have to start all over again and find what Sarah is going to tell us all about. So
yeah, I
that'll take
think,
a while.
I believe the only things we have pending, now we should look at the appendices to make sure we didn't lie there somewhere, but uh, the only things we have pending are waiting on county input
Uh-huh,
on
right,
these.
right. Okay, well, thank you all for your participation today. I think it was a productive session, and I will adjourn the meeting. So thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.